So, before this fight, I thought it was a foregone conclusion. I thought Usyk would stop Dereck Chisora in the mid to late rounds. And Dereck Chisora somewhat proved me wrong. And congratulations to him for that. But there are a couple points I want to go over. I just want to run through the fight with you guys because I think this fight could have some significant implications for the heavyweight division going forward. I didn't run a poll or anything, but I'm in the belief that the majority of the public, let's not say the public, let's say like the hardcore boxing fans, believed that Usyk would beat Chisora, and a lot of them that I was seeing agreed with me in the fact that they thought Usyk would stop Chisora. And obviously that didn't happen, but Usyk won the fight by unanimous decision. It was an interesting performance from both men. I mean, getting into the fight itself, Chisora started fast, and Chisora was piling on the pressure. Usyk was struggling in the first, say, especially the first round, and maybe even the second round. He was struggling. He looked uncomfortable in there. Dereck Chisora was roughing him up, especially in the clinches. Dereck Chisora was getting him in a headlock. He was going to the body, just slapping at Usyk's body, whilst in the clinch, hitting him on the back of the head. There was a lot of wild shots in the first round by Chisora, and one of them, I think it was in the first round, caught Usyk right on the back of the head, and that must have been a wake-up call for Usyk that he's in there with the big boys now. He's not in there with no, cruiserweight contender. He's in there with a top, very experienced heavyweight campaigner in Dereck Chisora, and a man that outweighs him by, I believe it was 3 stone. So Usyk realised after that first or second round that this ain't no joke. I've got to really put it on Dereck Chisora and show him that I hit harder than people think I hit. And I think he did that. Especially going into the sort of the middle rounds, Usyk really turned it up a notch. And in the 7th round, Usyk wobbled Chisora. I think Usyk rocked Chisora, especially I believe it was in the last 15 seconds of the 7th round. There was one exchange. It wasn't really even an exchange. Usyk was, he hit Chisora on the chin with a good, say, 5 or 6 shots clean. And Chisora, obviously, he's got experience. He's got a very good chin, Chisora. Only been knocked out, I believe, on 2 occasions by Hay and Dillian White. And that's the only time he's really been knocked out cold, KO'd. Other than that, he's been stopped by Fury. But Fury didn't knock him out, you know what I mean? Against Fury, Chisora had to quit on his stool because he was just taking a beating. But yeah, so Usyk, you can't expect him to stop Chisora because Chisora's got a great chin. The reason I thought he would stop Chisora is because I thought the referee would just come and stop the fight because I thought Usyk would really put a beating on Chisora. But it was a lot more competitive than that. The later rounds became quite close, but Usyk seemed to edge each one of them with just maybe not a higher work rate, but Usyk was throwing the more accurate punches and he was landing clearly and cleanly to Chisora's chin, whereas Chisora was throwing a lot of swingers and he wasn't landing accurately. He was landing on on his arms, his shoulders, his back. Even the body shots were hitting Usyk's elbows, so they're not really scoring shots. You can't give a man a round for hitting a man repeatedly on the arm. The aim of boxing is to hit your opponent and hurt them to the head and the body, etc. So then obviously onto the scorecards. The judges put the scores at 117, 112, 115, 113 and 115, 113, all in favour, a unanimous decision in favour of Oleksandr Usyk. I also, after watching the fight initially, I thought Usyk had ran away with it. I thought that was way too close. I thought it was 10 rounds to Usyk, 2 rounds to Chisora. But I did actually go back and watch it an hour ago. And I did score it 7 rounds to 5 to Usyk, which is 115, 113, which is what 2 of the judges scored the fight as. So it was a fair result. The reaction of the public and the reaction of the pundits on Sky was it was shocking to me though. A lot of them saying that they thought Chisora won. They thought a draw was fair. I don't see that personally myself. I thought Chisora's work was very inaccurate. Usyk's work was the opposite. It was very accurate. He was landing punches to the chin quite frequently. And even when Chisora had some success, it looked like Usyk was uncomfortable, but it didn't look like Usyk was at all in danger of being stopped or even rocked at any point during the fight. Usyk, after the second round, he looked in control of most rounds. Whether he won them or not, it's a different story, but he did look in control of the fight. But, you know, as I said, Tony Bellew, a good friend of Dereck Chisora, done a post-fight interview with Sky, and, you know, he said, oh, I thought Chisora won, blah, 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 blah. I think Tony Bellew is one of the worst people you can ask for their verdict on the fight, especially when it's his boy, you know. Chisora is Tony Bellew's boy, and Usyk beat the crap out of Tony Bellew only a couple, is it a year ago or 2 years ago now? So Bellew is the worst person to ask for a verdict on this fight. He's like the least biased person you could find at Sky, and Sky said, you know what, we're going to interview Tony Bellew, we're gonna ask him what he thought. But yeah, I just thought it was ridiculous that he thought Chisora won the fight. Yeah, so moving on, really, the question is what next for Oleksandr Usyk. I think he could do with a few more fights at heavyweight before he jumps in there with someone like Anthony Joshua. But I mean, I think it's possible that Joshua could vacate that WBO belt. It's more possible now than it ever has been, because that Fury fight is right around the corner, especially now that delusional Deontay Wilder is out of the picture. Joshua Fury is lined up. As long as Joshua beats Pulev, that fight is ready to be made. So I'm not sure Joshua's going to risk fighting Usyk before he, you know, goes in for that big sort of the deciding fight in the heavyweight division. Who is the best heavyweight between Joshua and Fury? Obviously, for Joshua, it's been road to undisputed. That's sort of been his slogan. He wants to be undisputed, so he's going to have to hold on to that belt somehow. But if he is going to do that, he's going to have to fight Usyk, because I don't think Usyk's going to budge. You know, you can offer Usyk any amount of money. I don't think Usyk's interested in the money. I think Usyk wants to fight for the belt. Usyk wants to be world heavyweight champion. So it's going to be interesting how this story develops in terms of Usyk and Joshua and the WBO. But I think Usyk could do with a couple more fights at heavyweight, just to get used to fighting these big guys, these pressure fighters, because obviously Chisora's a pressure fighter, and I mean, he dealt with Chisora pretty well, I thought. He looked good against Chisora, I thought. So we'll have to see going forward what Usyk decides to do. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel, and remember to turn on post notifications. Click that bell.